Are younger generations lazy, disinterested, or both? It's a question some industries are grappling with as they struggle to hire younger workers. For some, it's near impossible, with family businesses considering throwing in the towel.
The problem is that there's a stigma in Australia with young people about taking on jobs, rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty.
Times change, unfortunately. I'm probably one of the last old school kids around. Everyone's more interested in Instagram.
Paul Bucciarelli has no doubt his industry is on life support.
We are in dire straits in this country when it comes to manufacturing, and we need the new generation to come forward, a balanced generation who will appreciate what we have and what we need in this country, the hard work, the hard yakka, and not feel like there's a stigma behind doing that sort of work.
His business Stripco in Sydney's West, a blasting and powder coating plant, was started by his migrant father Luigi and Uncle Giuseppe in 1959. He's got plenty of work, but is staring down the barrel of closing because he hasn't got one key ingredient: workers. The ones he has are ageing.
One of them is 72 years of age and should have retired by now. The rest of them are in their late 50s and 60s. And we need a new generation to come through, and we have not been able to find them.
Paul points the finger firstly at Australia's obsession with university education.
The reality is we have an unbalanced workforce in this country. Too many people educated, earning very little money, and too much competition in those areas, and in other areas like construction and getting your hands dirty, not enough people.
And secondly, at a failure in migration.
I don't understand why we have 100,000 Uber drivers coming into the country delivering, McDonald's, burgers from down the road, when we need 100,000 more people to support manufacturing.
His theories are supported by statistics. Demographer Simon Kustenmacher.
In the 70s, a quarter of all jobs took place in factories. This is now about 6% of all jobs. So we do have potentially an over-educated Australia, if you will, because about half of a year 12 level will end up going to university these days. So that means there is a limited stock of people that would go into what are largely TAFE level type jobs in manufacturing.
Paul says the focus on education has led to a warped shaping of young people's work expectations.
As much money as possible, lifestyle, and preferably working from home. That's pretty much what they're looking for today. And society, government, our education institutions have educated them in that way and pushed them in that direction to feel like they're entitled. And it's not necessarily their fault. Even as parents, we're to blame by pushing them to educate themselves, regardless of whether they can or can't.
His son Daniel went down the path of a university education.
During school, everyone would just go to university. That was the stigma at the time. You have to go to uni, Well, this one's done.
He completed a finance degree, but threw it in to work with Dad.
Your dad's worried about the future of the business. Are you worried too?
Oh, 100%. This has been going on since, the 70s, 60s, 70s. My grandfather started the business up in Chipping Norton with his brother. I've asked cousins, younger cousins, older cousins, people who, are sort of hands-on and have a general understanding of being a hands-on person, a bit cluey in that. But they're just like, no, I'd rather just stay at home, work from home, work on a laptop all day or whatever, go and sit in an office, air-conditioned, nice and relaxed.
With his business on the brink, Paul was frustrated by Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's plans for a Future Made in Australia Act.
Be bold and build big.
Focusing primarily on tax breaks for clean energy projects.
Governments have been the architect of destroying manufacturing in this country, whether it be Labor, Liberal or anybody else in the past. Pretty much started when the car industry was decimated, and with all the small businesses, the support businesses that were associated with that, they all closed. We just need people that are smart and willing to want to do this work, and our industry's always trained people up. But if there's no soldiers to train, what's the point?